Iceland is one of the most expensive countries on the planet, but also one of the most beautiful. I have always been super fascinated with this nation of 380,000 people and curious why everything is so overpriced. So today we are going to explore the capital city of Reykjavík and see what we can get with $100. Welcome to Iceland. So I've done this $100 series in a lot of expensive countries, including Switzerland, in New York City, and even in Dubai in the UAE. But I have a strong feeling that this one may be the quickest. So this is the equivalent of $100. This is 13,850 Icelandic kronas. So let's see if this can last us a full 24 hours. First up, let's see how much a cup of coffee is here. Okay, so a coffee was $5.50, which is not terrible, but still on the pricier end. But this has to be the most perfect pour of coffee I've ever seen. It looks like they photoshopped it. It's so beautiful, I don't even want to drink it. So next up, we're gonna go to this place right here called Brown & Co. Supposedly they are the most famous bakery in Reykjavík and known for their cinnamon rolls. I could use a nice warm cinnamon roll right now. So for $5, we got the famous cinnamon roll, which is not too far off from what you'd pay back in America, but I feel like this may be one of the only cheaper options for food here in Reykjavík. Let's give it a try. Definitely one of the best cinnamon rolls I've ever had. So guys, we just ran into someone who watches the videos named Edgar from Estonia?
Estonia, yes.
But you've been living here in Iceland for the past 2 months, you just said.
Yes.
And what has that been like? Because I've only been here for 1 day and this place is unlike anywhere else in the world that I've ever been. What made you want to come here and live here for the past couple months?
I mean, it's a remote place, right? And
Yeah.
it's a small nation, and yeah, just had some burnouts in my life, and you know, worked really hard, and now I'm trying to get my life back together.
So you're saying like this is like a good place just to be remote and kind of like escape from
I guess
the rest of the world for a little bit?
Yeah, because there's a lot of room here. If you go out of Reykjavík, you know, there's lots of space. You know, you can clear your head. You know.
Totally. Yeah, a lot of good hikes in nature for sure. And I guess my last question is, what have you been doing with the prices? Because this is probably one of the most expensive countries I've ever been to.
Yeah, I'm staying with my friend right now.
Okay, that's a good hack right there.
Surfing, you know?
Edgar was a super awesome guy, and he definitely inspired me to come back here and see more of the country. Since unfortunately for this trip, I only have a couple days, so primarily gonna stay in this area of Reykjavík. But Iceland is only a 5-hour flight from New York City where I live, so definitely want to come back and explore it. If you guys want to see a video of seeing more of this country, comment down below because totally want to come back already. So what I was slowly starting to learn was that for the goods that are created in Iceland, the prices weren't too terrible. But since this is a very low populated nation that is an island, most products are imported and have a very hefty import tax. So clothing, food in restaurants, even grocery stores are insanely overpriced. Even a gallon of gas is $9. Okay, so I need to say something quick. So I'm back home editing right now, and I realized that I was in Iceland for such a short period amount of time that I did not shoot enough B-roll. Really is the worst feeling. But thank goodness for Storyblocks. Storyblocks truly is a lifesaver. They have stock videos and images of just about anything and anywhere you can think of. Why I love Storyblocks is because a lot of these other stock sites operate with an expensive pay-per-clip pricing. But Storyblocks offers their library of literally millions of clips, all for royalty free with one set price. Storyblocks is a partner of mine, but I gotta say, I genuinely have been a customer of theirs for years. If you guys want to learn more, go to storyblocks.com/BrettConti or click the link down below. All right, now back to Iceland. So now for transportation in Iceland, it is quite limited and very expensive. There is no subway and buses aren't really a thing within the city, and then taxis, forget about it. I took a taxi from the airport to here in the city and it was 45 minutes, but plus $150. So the best way to get around the city of Reykjavík are these scooters right here. Maybe we'll pretty much go across town for like $5. Also, great way to see the city. So one of the main things to do here in Reykjavík is to go to the top of the church right behind me. And what's super interesting about this church is that it's actually the second tallest building in the entire country. It is a super beautiful church, but crazy that it must only be about 9 stories, which is lower than my apartment back home in New York City. To get to the top of the tower was $10, but I feel like this is something you gotta do when you're here in Reykjavík. You know, sometimes coming up to these touristy viewpoints isn't worth the money, but for $10 to come up here and get to see the entire city of Reykjavík, where the city really does look like Candyland, and then all of the mountains and the ocean in the background. This is incredible. So right across the street from the church is Cafe Loki. Supposedly this is one of the most famous places here in Iceland to get some traditional food, and I have no idea what traditional Icelandic food is, so this should be interesting.
Moments later.
So that lunch meal came out to $30. I went with the lamb shank since there weren't many options on the menu that I thought I would like, since I learned that traditional Icelandic food consists of things like whale, horse, shark, puffins, and a couple of things that I've never heard of. So the lamb was good, but yeah, traditional Icelandic food is definitely something I need to get used to. I should say that a hotel or Airbnb in Iceland will cost you roughly $400 per night. So we are going to be staying in a hostel tonight at this place called Rex. It's $40 per night, but I am going to have to sleep in a room with 42 other people. Definitely the most amount of people I've ever slept with. So this is the Kex hostel where we're staying for tonight. Doesn't look too glamorous, but never judge a book by its cover. The common area is empty right now, but this is such a cool hostel. We got this stage behind me for some karaoke, there's a foosball table, we got a piano, and there's so much space. So in this series, I typically like to use the Big Mac Index to get a better understanding of a country's purchasing power. But this is the first time where there are 0 McDonald's in the entire country. And that's because when McDonald's tried opening one, it became home to the most expensive Big Mac on the planet due to the import fees into the country. Then once the 2008 financial crash happened in Iceland, where all 3 of the nation's banks collapsed, it unfortunately brought down Ronald McDonald too. So one of the other alternative local fast food joints is here at Aktu Taktu. I did just take a quick look at the menu, and even their equivalent of a Big Mac meal was about $16. So I'm gonna see what we can get with our remaining amounts and see how this Aktu Taktu tastes. Let's try this out. All right, so we unfortunately had to go a little bit over budget, since the cheapest thing we could get is this hot dog with a drink and a Kit Kat bar. And this came out to $7.13. Now, Iceland is known for their hot dogs, so I am excited to give this thing a try. Not bad. I guess, you know, if you are coming here to Iceland and trying to get by on a budget, Aktu Taktu has your back. I guess $7.13 is pretty ridiculous for just a hot dog. So after barely surviving a day in Iceland with $100, I was able to connect with a subscriber named Valar, who is born and raised here in Iceland, and ask him a bit more about what it was like growing up here in Iceland.
What was it like growing up here where, you know, during the summer, you guys have pretty much 24 hours of daylight, but during the winter, it's pretty much 24 hours of darkness. So does that get depressing? Is there like many activities to do at night?
There wasn't any safety issues, so we were just walking around at like 1 a.m. playing soccer and stuff. No one cares, and it was just sunny outside. So
like when it is the winter and it's so dark that it's hard to be like happy here, or
yeah, everyone here is kind of depressed. I mean, we're one of the most depressed people in the world, so yeah, I think it's us in Finland.
Also, what is like a typical job here in Iceland? Because it is so expensive, but I feel like the salaries, from my understanding, are quite high.
Yeah, I mean, most people say that, but like for the normal people, the pricing of houses compared to regular jobs is not comparable. they're not getting the salary that they need to be able to afford it anymore.
I know that you said it's quite difficult to live here full time, but as a traveler, I feel like this is such a bucket list destination because it's so beautiful. Do you appreciate that you're from one of the most beautiful countries in the world?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's the big plus about living in Iceland is the nature.
So guys, I just wanted to come out here to end this video and point out how right now it is 11 p.m. and it's still light out. It's unfortunately misting and cloudy, but crazy to be somewhere where it's pretty much light 24 hours a day. Anyway, Iceland, this has been amazing. Cannot wait to come back. Until next time, let's get out and get busy in the next one.